How TikTok ruined books. I could watch this only because I disagree with it so hard. I think TikTok is like the last thing getting people to read. Book talk is like the only reason young people are even considering reading. But I could argue with it. How TikTok ruined books.
With social media absolutely obliterating our attention spans, it seemed like books were bound to be a thing of the past. But in recent years, the publishing industry has reported record sales because of TikTok. People are buying more books than ever before, but at the same time, people are reading fewer books per year on average. So what the hell is going on? Now, I don't need to tell you that the internet, and particularly social media, has basically ruined our attention span, right? We know this. We've gone from reading 1,000-page tomes over the span of months to watching 4-hour movies, to speed-running 15-minute YouTube videos on double speed, to blitzing through content on TikTok all day. Television producers are blaming our internet brains on the failure of modern storytelling, and many of you are probably watching this video with Instagram open on your phones at the same time, which is why nobody saw it.
No, better. They're watching it on a second monitor as someone reacts to it while they also play a League of Legends game. a little more tapped in.
When TikTok made books popular again. Now, my dad always used to tell me that timing was everything. He was not Southern. But he was actually right about that, because in a lot of ways, it's true, especially when it...
So one reason I disagree with this guy already is he's Canadian. So as a fact that, I mean, you know, little details come out in a video essay where you can pick apart their argument. And one piece I've already figured out is this guy's Canadian. So he doesn't really understand. I mean, yeah, his flag's a fucking leaf. Okay? So like, first thing we got to understand there.
Comes to book talk. See, the pandemic was a make or break moment for a lot of industries, but perhaps predictably, book sales did very, very well when everybody was locked inside for months at a time. Now, this would have already been a huge blessing to an old-timey industry in a modern consumer world, but just previous to this was another facet that made it even better for them. Because in 2018, TikTok took...
It's funny. All right, so I don't necessarily disagree with it, but clearly this guy has a core thesis that everyone's brain is super rotten right now. And I do agree, people's brains are getting more rotten. But it's funny that it plays into the editing, because this editing is like screaming that you think the person is ready to click off in a moment's notice. This editing is designed, and like it thinks you're stupid.
Look over the internet.
It is
so we got
designed
millions
to make
of
sure
people locked inside,
it's
looking
like
for a way
constantly
to connect
changing
with
scene.
others and disassociate from the chaos around them. So they're reading a ton of books, and under isolation, they're looking for places to talk and debate these books that they're reading. And TikTok became the platform where this was done. Now, obviously, we're all in on YouTube here, on Future Proof, but in some ways, TikTok fosters a closer sense of community because of how casual it is. In a lot of ways, this was basically the rebirth of book clubs, because as long as we've been reading books, we've been talking about books together and sharing the experiences that we had that relate to those stories.
It would be fun to have like a book club or something with stream. Talking about a book is really fun. I think it makes you learn more from it. I think it makes you more able to retain some of the lessons of it. It's awesome. We just need to find the right book to where it's not... I mean, the first time I even remotely tried this, I picked the wrong book. It was a disaster of a book. We should do that. Everybody bring your thoughts. Make sure they agree with mine, because I'm going to be very, very, very... Atrioc, dude, a religious arc would go dumb hard. A religious arc would go dumb hard. If I start streaming from churches... All right, Chad, who knows the tale of Peter?
There is something truly special about a good book club, right? That safe space to reflect on stories with like-minded people, but in an increasingly...
No, not Peter Griffin. Though in a way, he's sort of like the modern version of the apostle. Okay? I can loop this into fucking...
isolated digital society, TikTok became the place where you found that community. In 2020, Book Talk effectively became the world's largest book club ever, in a way that BookTube and Bookstagram were never really able to achieve. So suddenly today, books are cool again, with absolutely no help from the publishing industry. Books have even become a fashion statement in their own right. If fashion is about expressing your identity to the world and which groups you belong to, is there any better way of doing that with a book? They're literally called mirrors of the soul, after all. And it turns out that this is a whole fashion thing today. I kid you not. There are legit book stylists out there choosing books for...
That kind of hurts me. That kind of cuts me. It feels very soulless. It feels very, unless LeBron does it, then it's cool. When LeBron does it, it's badass. But now I feel like everyone's doing it.
For celebrities to be seen with. And none of those books are going to be YouTube for dummies, am I right? But to some, this really feels like performative readership. Like if people are styling their outfit to match their hardcovers, there's naturally going to be a question about how much these people are actually reading versus pretending to read for the photo op. Honestly, the fact that people are writing articles on this and debating it is just fascinating to me. One thing that we learned in the writing of this script is that people really care about books. Outside of our book clubs, there is a whole social cachet around what we read. We care about who's reading them, how they're being read, and what that says about them and us.
Okay, I would still say, like, even if all of this is true, and there's obviously people that are doing this, it's still, it's not like, saying we is kind of crazy, because most people don't. You know, it's still a really small percentage of people that even care about the performative books. They don't care. It doesn't matter at all.
We judge people by their book covers. And perhaps at this point you can start to guess at some of the problems that Book Talk is causing. In 2021, US book sales were at their highest since BookScan started measuring them in 2004. Of those sales, 20 million printed books were sold at least partially because of Book Talk, and bookstores have literally reopened since this boom. In 2022, the Future Book Publishing Conference literally named Book Talk as their Person of the Year. I didn't know that they could do that. I thought that, does everybody get to nominate?
So I guess the argument he's building towards is that we're selling more books than ever, but people aren't reading them. It's becoming more performative. Kind of like how there's been a huge rise in people buying physical CDs and albums, but they don't actually have a player, so they don't use them. But it's kind of like, yeah, vinyl, yeah. But you know, I heard a good argument for that, and it's like, you know, especially in an era where you grow up with Spotify, it's just cool to have some physical sense of ownership, or a memento or a collector's item, or even if like you're going to listen to it on Spotify. I think there's something to that.
Person of the Year? Could we nominate a Person of the Year?
It would not be you.
It would not be, well, I don't think I could nominate myself, but. So we have to say that book statistics are not a perfect science and don't really represent perfect reality. But one thing that everybody agrees on is that it's changing everything. In the olden days, we learned about new authors from booksellers themselves. Now we learn about them from pretty much anyone. There is something unique about.
Please tell me Jimmy Fallon is not a loud voice on Book Talk.
Anyone. There is.
Yeah, I feel like that's killing. I think that's why books are dying. Jimmy Fallon, if we just get him off of Book Talk, we might save books.
There's something unique about TikTok's algorithms, how it prioritizes content over followers, which means that pretty much anyone can make a viral video about a hidden gem, and suddenly millions are learning about it for the first time. Things are happening on Book Talk that would have been previously unheard of. We have books hitting the bestseller list years after their release, or authors getting a real shot at publication because of their own online community.
it is kind of fucked up that the incentive is for every book publisher to basically buy any book, doesn't matter the quality, from any author, and just give it a cool cover, and then spend all of the money on marketing to get different shots on goal, like just different micro influencers to all make TikToks about it until one of them goes viral. That's like the entire monetary incentive of the industry.
Communities. People are talking about how power is returning to the reader because people are saying that what's happening on TikTok is changing nearly every aspect of the publishing world, which is incredible, really, but it does come down with its own complexities that industry professionals are a little bit worried about. So yes, in some ways, this feels like a bit of a power to the people.
To be clear, I have no love or defense for industry professionals in publishing. Almost every one of them, to a man or woman, is a rich kid. A rich kid who doesn't know what they want to do with their life and got into this industry that makes absolutely no money and can only survive off of fucking inherited wealth. It is one of the most notorious industries for having no actual. It's the most nepotistic, family supported industry.
Kind of moment,
it's
right?
It's kind of like
but
fashion,
it could
yes.
fall short of a revolution.
But fashion makes
I think
money.
This quote captures it pretty well. If all that book talk does is continue the tastes of the institutional gatekeepers, then that's not that great. And the way that it's shaking down is very interesting. First of all, let's talk about the emphasis on new over old, right? There are, of course, exceptions, but I can tell you firsthand that as a content creator, there is immense pressure to focus on the hot, the new, and the exciting. Why do you think we make so many bloody water bottle videos on this channel? As a creator, you want to be on the cutting edge of everything. And there's complaints that book talk has become rather homogenous as a result, with the same 5 books being recommended over and over again. You probably recognize this if you've been in that world at all. And look, I haven't read any of these trending books, but there seems to be a lot of discussion online about how much of their content is plot and how much of it is, smut, I guess. And listen, I like smut as much as the next guy, but it paints a pretty specific picture of what the book climate looks like right now. Okay, of course, there are all sorts of people recommending all sorts of books, right? But it does seem...
It is true that it does feel like a lot part of the book industry because, you know, we'll just say it, women are reading books more than men, and the women that are reading books are more, more likely to read smut, dude. That there's been a rise ever since the massive financial success of 50 Shades. There's like a massive that is definitely a part of it.
To be the case that if you don't deliberately fight the algorithms, your entire feed is going to be this book and Colleen Hoover or whatever is popular right now. Then there's some complaints about how these reviews skew a book's popularity. The algorithm seems to favor sensational, emotional reviews on certain trendy tropes, right? Which affects what kinds of books get pushed to the forefront of the algorithm, which in turn affects the kinds of books that are displayed in your real-world bookstores.
A few weeks ago, I saw 2 videos on my For You page quite far apart from each other, both of which were recommending The Poppy War. The first one was a video telling you what the book was about, telling you all of the different themes, the genres, the tropes, telling you what this creator loved about the book. And the second video was someone recommending The Poppy War as a book with a powerful female protagonist. Both things are true. However, to absolutize The Poppy War into just a book about a powerful female protagonist is infuriating.
And because TikTok has such a fast-paced platform, there's this...
What? But maybe that person just wanted to talk about that one aspect. No, that's not a valid critique. That's crazy. That's just one thing you could say about a book. It's a TikTok length review. They might just say one thing. They don't even give a full fucking synopsis. You might just want to recommend it based on that to your audience that cares about that. If I'm like, hey Chad, do you like war movies? Well, I like the movie Troy because it's got a cool battle scene in it. Excuse me, Atrioc! To simplify Troy down to one simple fucking battle scene is infuriating. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Pressure for creators to post at least daily. But it's not as though you can
It's actually about Brad Pitt's
meaningfully
bare
post
ass.
an
True.
examination of a book on a daily basis, right? And this is where we get, I kid you not, haul videos, but with books instead of Shein. People
Haul
will buy
videos.
15 books at a time just to flash it in front of the camera for a second and then unhaul it onto their shelves. Combine this with the pressure to always
I just want you guys to
reading
know I've read every fucking book on my shelf. I'm saying this loud, proud, and moud, dude. Moud is a word I learned from reading so many books. Okay? I am not doing a fucking haul video. He's so moud. He's so moud right now.
Or, you know, you got to keep up with your Goodreads stats or whatever, and you can see why Book
I'm not
Talk
on
has a
Book Talk.
reputation.
I'm not on Goodreads. What is the fifth word of the 164th page of the third book on your shelf? Well, the third book on my shelf is Aragon, so I'm going to guess the word is dragon. I'm going to guess it's dragon. I'm going to throw it out there, and I think it's probably fucking dragon. He's right. He's fucking right.
For prioritizing quantity over quality. And this is actually a perfect segue for me to tell you that I've also written a book, but I'm giving it away for free. The book is called You Don't Need to Be a Hero to Save the Planet, and I wrote it a number of years ago.
Actually, you do. Checkmate. Sorry. Counter argument. If you save the planet, you become a hero. So therefore you do. Therefore checkmate.
Go for my previous channel, and it digs a little deeper into the nuance of the issues that we talk about.
I have a book to sell if we're going to do ads, if we're just doing fucking ads. If you go to failedco's.co, you can find my one-word book. It's called Nortel, and I printed it on a quarter zip. I realized that reading attention spans have gotten a little shorter, so I condensed the story down to a single word to make it easier to get through all of the... I mean, there's still a lot of letters in it, so you have to go all the way from the beginning to the end. It's not... But you can get that printed right. You can wear it on your body, and that way it's a way to flex the book you're reading as well.
About here on this channel through my own personal experience over the years. It's an ebook and an...
Is there any smut? Yes. Canada gets fucked hard and raw. I promise you that. What happens to Canada is smut in that story. So definitely
audiobook.
Definitely check it out.
I actually voiced the whole thing myself, and the only way that you can get access to it is by joining our Patreon page. I took a bit of a read through it the other day because I did write it a long time ago, and it seems to be a bit of an autobiography of some sort, but I honestly think it's an interesting look into...
I'm sorry, you wrote an autobiography called You Don't Need to Be a Hero to Save the World. Isn't that just like a tiny bit pretentious? Isn't that just like a tiny bit pretentious?
my journey in creating this channel, but also a lot of the assumptions that we make about our everyday choices as people. So if you want to support this channel and get access to exclusive content, including my ebook now, you can get all of that and more through the link down in the description. So I would say I'm not exactly a book purist or an author, and I certainly don't follow the trends of whatever is happening online in the book world. But this is actually becoming a problem for some people. TikTok influencers have been burning out reading books. Out of sheer FOMO, people are buying way too many books, only to realize that A, they don't have space for them, and
I want to call Rachel in the middle of this thing. We're going to find out. Rachel is on Book Talk. She showed up at basketball and sat there reading the entire time. Let's see if she's available. Rachel. We're going to get to the bottom of this smut question. Rachel! Hey!
Are you live?
I'm live. Well, this is how I talk normally. I just scream.
Okay. Hey!
I'm live. I have a question. As the foremost expert on Book Talk, I have some questions for you. We're watching a video about Book Talk.
Can I give the disclaimer I'm a little intoxicated?
Perfect. Perfect. So you're on Book Talk, right? You know, like the trends?
Yeah, I watch a lot of like BookTube and Book Talk stuff.
Okay, great. We just watched the video on it, so we're trying to catch up because you're actually, I gotta turn you down. So one of the claims of this video is that the vast majority of book talk recommendations are essentially smut.
Listen, I don't know like how true that is.
You don't know how true that is. You couldn't weigh in on that?
I think that a lot of them are like romantasy, so like fantasy romance, but
Okay.
and I think that there is a subcategory of people who specifically want to read more smutty things.
Okay.
But they're not like the most smutty some of the time. Sometimes it's just like they have sex in the book, and it depends what book it is to like how detailed that is.
So like on a smut scale, it's like 2 stars out of 5 or what? It's not like...
Sure, you're kidding, but like people genuinely are like, how much smut is in Pride of Prejudice? Can you like tell me on a Chili Peppers spice rating from 0 to 5?
I think someone should rewrite Pride and Prejudice and add a lot more smut. I think that would make it... I think that would sell like crazy. I think that would actually move...
I agree.
Okay, wait, what else do we have questions? Chat, we had book talk questions. That was the main one I wanted to know. Oh, do you think there are people on Book Talk who are doing these book hauls who are buying 10, 15 books and not reading any of them and just like showing it off to camera?
Yeah, I mean, people say that. They like admit, like, I just wanted to buy books because they aesthetically look nice. And then they buy like the super ultra collector's edition foil hollow book. And then they put it on their shelf and they never read it. And then the strat is, after that, when you do that enough times, you do a declutter video where you clean out your library from all the books you're not going to read.
Oh, shit. That's how you got a whole content cycle out of it.
Yeah, they have a content cycle, Brandon.
Okay, that's hype. And then you, just to be clear, you're reading all the fucking time. They also made a claim, some people on Book Talk, that they're getting burned out on reading. They read so much they get burned out and like it frazzles their brain. Has that happened to you?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the books that we read for book club are like sourced
We read them.
from Book Talk.
We do read them for book club.
Yeah,
and I want to say, Chad, notice how you said we, because
we all read.
we both knock those books out left and right.
I've definitely read the most recent one.
Me too.
Actually, like that one scene from like the 3rd, 4th act.
I thought it wasn't smutty enough. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was my one. It wasn't enough chili peppers in that book.
Really? Because the book is about 2 gay men.
I thought it should have been about 3, Rachel. I thought it should have been about 3. I thought 2 was a little blasé for my taste.
Little weak. Sorry.
I wanted a thruple. All right, well, that was my main fucking questions. I was so fascinated. I am not familiar too much. I knew Book Talk existed, and I know it's the way books are sold now. But I actually watched some Book Talks and saw a video essay about it, and now it's like very interesting.
The marketing for Book Talk books goes crazy. Like, I mean, that's why Fourth Wing was so big. It's not because it's a good book. It's just like it capitalized on what all the youth want on TikTok via like tropes. So like it has like dragons. It's like a school where they like fight.
Dude,
it's kind of like
always a school.
Yeah, it's
always a school. That goes dumb hard.
It goes
There's just something around. There's something. Even I liked fucking Red Rising and the one Will of the Many. I like the school shit. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like they're fighting in a school. Harry Potter.
It's like Yu-Gi-Oh, Harry Potter. What's not to love?
I don't get why that works. Wait, there's a lot of smut in this book, Fourth Wing?
Yeah,
Let me see.
there is.
Chad
it's
is
not
saying
very
they've read
good.
it.
Oh, I did. So like one of the reading challenges that I did I tell you this? I think I did, where I like decided I wanted to read outside a genre that I normally do, which is like fantasy. So I decided to read a contemporary romance, but I chose one that was like, maybe contemporary is not the right word, like a modern one or whatever.
I don't know.
By Allie Hazelwood, but then it turned out to be about like a werewolf and a vampire, and there was like nodding involved, and I was like, what the fuck?
You're like, what the fuck? Let me finish this. Funny that your one attempt to go outside of the genre went back into fantasy plus smut plus nodding.
Yeah. Well, you know what nodding is?
You've told me on the way to What's nodding, chat? Just Google it and go to image search and you'll have a great time.
No.
Anyway, that was what I wanted to ask you. I wanted to learn more about Book Talk. If you see any hilarious book talks, definitely send them our way. We're now into it.
You book talkers?
We're going to be book talkers. Yeah. I might pivot. I have a big bookshelf. I can do a decluttering. I could do a haul video.
I considered, the only video I've ever considered doing in my entire life is I have the entire Warrior Cat series downstairs in my house. I was like, there's so many people who do those, like, they go through a book that, like, no one will ever read because it's, like, some smutty book about, I don't know, just fucking a door handle or something like that. That's one of them, by the way. That's a real one that exists. And I was like, what if I did like an entire like video essay on the Warrior Cat series? So fun.
That's a good idea. You actually should go dumb hard. Basically, the business lesson I got from this is that the incentive for publishers is to take any book of any quality, give it a good cover, and then pay as many micro-influencers to make videos about it as possible until one of those videos hits. And then they make an insane amount of money. That's like the entire strategy for the publishing industry right now.
Yeah, but there's also like, do you ever get those like TikToks on your For You page where it's like just like text from the book or whatever to like try to bait you into read it, but it's like really smutty, like dom-centric text.
Yeah,
it's, like,
all the time. That's my algorithm. Is dom-centric book talk.
I bet.
Wait, so it reads a passage from the book, the smuttiest possible passage, and then tries to get you to...
It's like, he growled and pushed me up against the wall, and then it's like...
That's just good marketing. That's just good marketing.
Dude,
I gotta be
there's
honest
so
with you.
many of those with like 0 likes, 0 engagement, 0 comments that just exist.
Rachel, if you're getting so many of those with 0 likes, the algorithm has you pegged. If it is scraping the bottom of the barrel to find the 0 likes one, the algorithm knows.
No, I don't think so.
Nah, probably not. Nah, probably not. Well, anyway, thank you for the interview. Appreciate that. Chad is now much more knowledgeable. We'll call you again next time you're even more drunk for more interviews on any topic.
It sounds good. Bye,
Bye,
Brandon.
Reg. That was funny. That was funny. So that would be probably the #1 consumer of book smut. Let's see the rest of this video.
B, they don't even like the books that they bought.
In 2020, I fell prey to the mass consumerism of book talk. I felt as though in order to become a successful creator, I would have to read, recommend, and purchase tens of books a month. As a result of that, I have 4 bookcases full of books that I cannot even really say that I enjoyed.
Because the thing about book talk is that it doesn't just encourage reading, but making a reader a part of your identity. I had no idea before researching this video, but there is a whole aesthetic for what readers look like in the real world, with merch to fulfill that look.
Dude, it is so funny because I'm just being real. If you are that addicted to TikTok to where you feel that, there's no fucking way you're reading a book, let alone 10 books a month. There's no way. You're opening the book and putting the phone in the middle and I'm just being like, if you're so immersed in it that you have to. That's why they make them smutty. Hey, listen, nothing wrong with putting a little smut into a book. I personally think that. I mean, I can't name a book. I was trying to think of James Joyce or something, but it has fucking smut in it. I personally think that Great Expectations would be better with smut. Okay? I think 50 Shades of Grey would be better with more smut. Harry Potter needed sex and JK could have made another Billy. Yeah, that's what held her back. Das Kapital. I mean, you know what? I heard that the most bought and unread book is Capital in the 21st Century by Thomas Piketty. I believe that is, judging by, they used statistics on e-readers where they can see how many. That is the most unread book. No, I think more than the Bible. Well, maybe you don't have to buy that one. I don't know. But of purchased books, if that book had a little smut in it, that would do it. Does Debt the First 5,000 Years have smut? Yes, but it's the same joke. It's everyone getting fucked by debt.
Anytime a hobby or a lifestyle or anything else becomes a part of your identity, a marketer out there is ready to use that against you.
It feels like...
Not against you, for you. For you. The marketer's helping you achieve actualization by finding your true identity. The marketer's helping you feel more comfortable and assured with yourself by buying just this one thing. With you, for you.
Somebody wants to sell me something!
Mainstream book overconsumption is a new enough phenomenon that nobody knows for sure what the long-term impacts will be. But these are still physical objects that people are buying to be a part of that community. As much as I want to support authors, I'm not convinced that buying a book and never reading it or buying yet another branded tote is the right way to do that. We actually have a whole other video on totes if you're interested in that. But what concerns me more is what might happen next. Because in the fashion world, we have—
Dude, I need to get my editors to do this. Will you just fucking randomly take a sentence and make the letters pop on a full screen color background to re-engage the viewer? And that's why Xi Jinping is lowering Chinese interest rates. Boom, 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 boom. And then cut to a line going down. And it's waving the Chinese flag. That's good editing.
What concerns me more is what might happen next. Because in the fashion world, we have already seen that companies today can turn a design into a garment in as little as 10 days based on algorithms and whatever's trendy that week. And specifically on TikTok. We've already moved way past fast fashion into ultra fast fashion today, and it feels like we're at the point of no return. And if you don't think that this is possible for the book world, you might be surprised to learn that just last year, TikTok's parent company started laying the groundwork for their very own publishing house. Yeah, TikTok is getting into the lit game. And as of yet, they haven't released anything. And there's a lot of speculation about what this might actually mean for the publishing industry, good, bad, or even negligible,
That's
right?
funny.
We don't know. But I think the most obvious concern here is the potential for TikTok to publish and promote books based solely off of trends and to bend their algorithms in their favor. And here's my personal guess, okay? Call me a cynic, but I think what we're going to see is major publishers pumping out more books instead of better books, with priority going to—
I mean, it's just people getting what they want, you know. I mean, it's hard to blame TikTok. People want the book; they're just going to provide it. It's not. It's
good marketers rather than good writers. Now we've—
That's what I'm talking about. Finally, the real people get rewarded. Finally, it's crazy that we know, you know, Charles Dickens instead of a great marketer from his era. It's crazy we know about Shakespeare instead of a great marketer. It's why the fuck do we know about these writers, these hacks who just write the words instead of the people who get it out there?
Good writers. Now, we've actually released a whole other video about AI, which you should watch after this. But I think that AI is going to be filling in a lot of the blanks in order to get these books out faster, in the most generic way possible, of course. And my double fear is that we're just going to get used to this system and forget that books can actually be good and worth talking about. And some of this is sadly already happening. After Fourth Wing absolutely exploded on Book Talk, there was so much pressure to get another book out ASAP that they published the sequel in 6 months. Just for
That's funny because
in 6 months. Just for context,
I can't imagine that's a great book.
it usually takes 2 years to do that. And according to some reports, it sort of seems like it was rushed.
Yeah.
I hope that I am wrong, and I don't think that it's too late to change this trajectory either. We still have the opportunity, personally, to choose books intentionally or even—
Okay, here's the thing is I don't, not to be rude or dismissive, but I feel like this is a non-issue and a non-problem. And if people are reading books, even Fourth Wing, the point is that it's a gateway. Like if they read the book and like it, and then they read the next one and it sucks, well, then they go find a good book. Well, who the fuck cares? If they're reading, it's the fucking the craziest thing in this world where people are doing where people are wait, where's my fucking legs? Where people are doing this.
Seagull fish.
And you're worried about someone reading a book that's a little smutty or not like high. Like who cares? If they read it, that's a good start.
In 2022, nearly half of TikTok users in the US said they started reading more thanks to Book Talk. Some even reading 60% more books than before. In Canada, it was over 50%. Book Talk didn't just boost reading, it also helped book sales hit a 20-year high in 2021.
Seems like it was rushed.
Bro, shitting on art. Bro, I don't know how to tell you this. The fucking slop stuff has always and forever sold better than the fine art stuff. Always. Transformers 2 made a fucking $1 billion. People have always wanted that, and they will always buy it. And then some portion of those people want more, and they go digging, and they find good stuff. And in fact, a world where a bunch of people are buying books they don't read just gives more money to publishing to greenlight the few cool, extra good books that deserve it. So it's not a fucking problem. Is he calling Transformers 2 art or slop? Yeah, that was a point about how artistic it is. I was saying only $1 billion. I was like, what? It made only $1 billion? Because it's high art. Do you know what I'm saying? Even that movie scraped by.
That I am wrong, and I don't think that it's too late to change this trajectory either. We still have the opportunity, personally, to choose books intentionally, or even, hear me out, crazy idea, go to a library. The book that you read shouldn't be about if it's popular.
I saw Transformers 2 7 times in theaters, and that gave the studio the money to greenlight something else. Okay? So the system worked.
Or if it fits your image, or if it's gonna mess with your Goodreads stats, okay? And the good news here is, talented writers are going to keep writing things whether or not they're on TikTok's top 40 books of the year or whatever. Self-publishing is bigger than ever, and if you are truly frustrated with the direction that things are going, there's nothing stopping you from supporting someone that you believe in.
He doesn't even talk about the spookiest part. The spookiest part is, that authors will get cut out of the process altogether. Because if a rushed 6-month book about dragons in schools can make that much money with good marketing, then they could just AI generate it. Do you know what I'm saying? They could just feed the last book in, generate a sequel, and then shove it out with good marketing. Half the people buying it aren't even reading it. That's the fucking, that would be the spooky part. The spooky part is all the vampires and werewolves. No, it's not that spooky because they're fucking. It'd be less spooky. I mean, it'd be more spooky if they weren't fucking ramming each other.
Or going to your local library to get books for free. Once again, I don't think people realize that you can go to libraries and get books for free. Even cheap, crappy ones like this. I actually haven't read it, so I can't tell you if it's cheap and crappy, but that's what some people seem to be saying. But listen, this is just my opinion. Let us know what you think down below. If you're a person who's in this world and you know a bit more of it personally, we would love to hear your thoughts. And remember, if you like this kind of content about our consumer world, you should subscribe because we release a video every single week.
Right. Interesting topic. Interesting discussion. I can't say I agree with it, but yeah, I still like that they made it and we talked about it. All right, so thank you to them for making that video.